So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming on Life's Fine podcast and agreeing to do the interview. Yeah. So do you want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Aarya B, and I am 17 years old. And currently, I'm in 12th grade, senior year in high school. I live in India, and I'm a blogger and a poet on Instagram. And my blog's name is Blissful Enchantress. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your blog and what you share on your blog?
So, initially, when I first started off, I wanted my blog to be about like the importance of positivity and optimism in your life and inspirational stories and stuff like that. But eventually, I thought of branching out of that, and I just thought that there are so many aspects to my personality that I could introduce to my readers, and I don't have to limit myself to a particular thing or a niche as such. So I started writing more about myself, about my experiences in life and what I learned from them, or certain anecdotes I draw inspiration from through the QOTW segment I have on my blog. And recently it's been more about books, which I've been like reading and my crazy obsession over them.
Yeah, I've noticed like a lot of posts about books recently, which is really cool.
Yeah.
What made you decide to start blogging? And you said on Instagram to use Instagram as well.
Yeah. So I've loved reading and writing since I was 3 or 4 years old, as long as I can remember. And I learned to read and write faster than kids of my age. And I've always had an inclination to it. And there are like so many thoughts and things going on in my head, and I wanted to share that with the world. And that's when my parents made me start blogging on WordPress. I was 12 years old at the time, and I immediately fell in love with it. Like, the possibilities of writing about so many things and sharing that with the world, it really fascinated me. And until the age of 15, I wrote on a different website. I did not write on Blissful Enchantress. And so when it was during the lockdown period when I realized that all the blogs which I'd written from the ages of 12 to 15 do not reflect who I am as a person today. And I think the image I'd created of myself on that particular website does not isn't what I am right now. So a few months later I created my current website, and I spent months trying to make it like perfect, and I've been blogging on it ever since.
Wow, that's really great. So you, like you mentioned, you do talk a lot about the books you enjoy reading. Is there like a favorite genre of books that you really enjoy or that you're particularly drawn to?
So, well, currently it's psychological thrillers. It's more of a dynamic thing. It keeps changing with a few months. And that's literally all I've been reading right now since the past like 2, 3 months. But if I have to talk about like my all time favorite, then it has to be contemporary fiction. And I tend to like all the books written in this genre.
That's really great. I'm really into the whole psycho thriller thing as well
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know if you've read like The Intruders, but it was the last book I read. It was really good. I would definitely recommend it. Um, so what are some of your favorite books that you recently read? I know you shared some of them on your blog post, but like if you
Yeah.
want to share them here.
Sure. So recently I read a psychological thriller called Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and it was so good. And it is one of the best psychological thrillers I have ever read. And so I would definitely recommend that one. And there's a very famous book called Where the Crawdads Sing. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's, yeah, I love that book as well. And I reread The Kite Runner for the third time like in my life, and I just love that book so much. It's my all-time favorite. It's one of my favorite contemporary fiction books.
Yeah, that book is amazing, The Kite Runner. I
Yeah.
studied it in school. I don't know if you guys are studying it, but
No.
oh, okay. I we studied it in English. It was so interesting. But personally, I don't know if you read Thousand Splendid Suns by the
Yes,
same
I've read
author.
that too.
Yeah,
I love all his books.
he's so good. But I think personally that would be my favorite out of all his books, even more so than The Kite Runner. Like that book just it really like breaks you, like it
Yeah,
changes
it's
you.
really good.
Yeah. What are has so you've been blogging for a while now. Clearly, you've started really early, which is really great, I think. I think more people who are interested in reading and writing should do that. But has blogging enhanced your life? Do you think it has helped you in life for all the years you've been blogging?
Yes, for sure. I mean, blogging has given me a medium to talk about stuff I generally do not say out aloud. And I am an introvert, and it's through blogging that I've been able to express myself. And it allows me to be creative, to fangirl over books. And and when I start writing, I just get into a zone, and just it helps me escape from reality. And I think that's what reading does to me too, and that's why maybe I read so much. And
Yeah,
especially during the COVID times, I would like resort to blogging because like it had gotten quite lonely, like being confined at home. So blogging really helped me through that period as well. So yes, it has enhanced my life.
that's really great. Yeah, I think for a lot of bloggers, it's like a really great outlet where you can just sort of be yourself and you don't have like so much pressure on you. So yeah, I think it really does help with that. What are some of your long-term blogging goals, like or writing goals if you're gonna be interested in writing in the future?
So in the long term, I think I want to spend more time blogging. That's like the first and foremost thing because of school and extracurriculars. I don't really get as much time as I would want to right now. And I'd like to upgrade my blog, and like if I when I get the correct resources, and monetize it maybe. Like I'm not sure how that actually works, I think, but I think I would want to do that. And I would also like to do freelancing in the future. I find that very interesting, and I've done a project in the past, and I really enjoyed it. It was very challenging, and it was something which I definitely want to do again.
That's
And I
really
want to publish a book someday. Like I don't know when it's that someday, but I definitely want to do it. And it's I think publishing a book, I want to publish something which I would be proud of forever. It's not like something I'd like in a few years time would cringe and think that, oh my god, what did I write? So I don't want that thing to happen. So I'm just waiting and waiting for my mind to come up with the right story.
Yeah, that's really great. I actually I started blogging pretty early too as a teenager, not as early as you, but I started around 17, 18 years old. And like that was my goal. And that's literally what I did too. Like the first thing I did was monetize my blog, become a freelancer,
Yeah,
and work on my book. And I think you're absolutely good. That's an achievable goal. Like you can absolutely get there. And it's a good idea to wait to publish until you have something you're like happy with, that
exactly.
you're not gonna like in 10 years now gonna be like, oh God, I like why did I
Yeah, exactly.
so yeah, I think like in your 20s, you'll be like more ready to publish something. Like you'll
Yeah,
figure out what you want to put out there. So that's totally achievable. And I think you'll be able to get there because you started blogging even earlier and like you have so much writing experience now because of that.
true.
Um, so moving on to some fun questions because we don't want to just talk about blogging.
Yeah.
What is one habit you're trying to get rid of currently?
Well, it has to be procrastination. I think it's a very classic answer. Most people would say that, but lately it's just I don't know if it's like it's because of growing up or something. I don't know, but I've just started putting off things and like instead I'd like read a book or take a nap, and it's not a good thing at all, which I have come in terms with. And now that I'm in senior year of high school, I cannot keep doing this, otherwise things are gonna get pretty bad for me.
Yeah.
So I've started like doing something which has started working out for me is that I make weekly goals. I don't make like a day-to-day routine because that is like really pressurizing and something I cannot follow. So I just make like a weekly goal list on every Sunday, and I tell myself that I have to do this. It doesn't matter whether I do everything on Monday or like just or like leave it for the end of the week. That's like completely on what I feel like doing at that time. So it kind of works for me. So by the end of the next week, I'd be done with everything. And it doesn't matter in what order I did it.
That's really good. Yeah, I'm glad you're cracking down on that. Procrastination is like definitely a big issue for most of us.
Yeah.
Say like definitely most of us have struggled with that. So yeah, it's a good way to get your goals in by the end of the week. If you can instantly become, what would you want to be an expert in? Like if you could instantly become an expert in something.
I would love to be an expert at cooking because I watch MasterChef Australia and like so many other baking shows religiously. Like I do not miss a single episode. And but when I go into the kitchen, I cannot cook. It usually ends up being a disaster. So it's just that I just spend a lot of time watching these shows, but I don't do anything with it. I just watch it. So I think if I would become an expert at cooking, I could actually use those skills which I'm seeing on TV and like make it a productive thing instead of just a waste of time.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I was really bad at cooking until like I hit my 20s and then I was forced to cook like I had no other
Yeah.
choice. So I think you'll get better over time. Yeah, don't worry about it. What is uh something about you that people would be surprised to know?
The, I think that would be that I believed that Santa exists till I was 13 years old. And this is a very funny story actually of how I found out that Santa does not exist. So when I was 5 years old, my parents gifted me a stethoscope. They kept it under the Christmas tree and they told me that Santa gave it to me because I was good all year. And I believed it. So when I was, and it was like a proper stethoscope which doctors use. It's not like a toy stethoscope. So so when I was 13 years old, I was playing with the stethoscope, and my mom said that be careful with it; it's expensive. And I'm like, you didn't buy it for me. How would you know? And then she's like, do you seriously still believe that Santa exists and Santa got this for you? And then the realization dawned on me that, oh my God, what have I been thinking? And yeah, it really upset me for a few days, but I just came in terms with it, I guess.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh my gosh, that's really adorable. Um, what is one thing that people don't know about you?
So people, except my very close friends, don't know that I am a huge health freak, and I believe in like steering away from too much junk food, sugar, oily stuff, and just all that stuff. Because like I believe that when you're young, it's like the right time to make right lifestyle choices, and you can just avoid much bigger health issues in the future. And I'm also like very critical on people's food choices as well. So my actual first impression of a person is formed when I see what they choose to eat, and if I do not approve of that, then I already have a judgment for them in my head that that this person is not right. And I think this is a thing which I've inherited from my mom. My mom is also like that. So I think it's just a habit I can't really get rid of, how much ever I try to.
But I think that's a like I think in general eating healthy is a
Yeah,
good
it is a good thing, but sometimes it's not, especially when you're out with your friends and
Oh
you're just
yeah, yeah.
pointing at them.
Yeah, I totally understand that. But it's so good you're taking care of your health. When the earlier you start, like the better you can avoid so many things. I wish I had started as a teenager, but like I
Yeah.
did not care that much as a teenager.
I
Now I'm
think
like crazy
the
about
thing which
it.
just started like in 2023. It wasn't like that before.
Okay. But still, you're starting relatively early. Like it's
Yeah.
good. So that's really great. And so I think, is there anything else you wanted to share with my readers or anything? I will link your blog in the description and on my blog on Spotify everywhere. So in case anyone wants to check it out, read it, which I would recommend they do, they can check it out. But is there anything else you wanted to share?
Well, I'd just like to tell you that I'm so thrilled to be on your podcast. And I've been reading your blogs from so many years. And finally getting to talk to you, it's like a dream come true, to be honest. So I'm so glad that you have me on your podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad you've been reading my blogs. I really appreciate that. And it's really nice to have you here. This was a fun chat. I think we have a lot in common because like I'm also
Yeah,
into health. I love reading, like yeah.
yeah,
So it's been fun chatting with you as well. Um, so thank you for coming on. And I think yeah, this is a good place to end the interview. Thank you for answering my questions. And yeah.
thank you.